The first lie in corporate life is that access means output. The second lie is that if your boss can reach you at 11:47 at night, somehow the company becomes more efficient. It starts small, a late email. Then another one, nothing is on fire, no servers are down. No lawsuit is landing in a lobby. It is just some manager with a laptop and a bad home life deciding that your evening belongs to him because Outlook still works after dark. And nobody says it out loud, but by morning, there is this little test hanging in the air. Did you see it? Did you answer? Are you committed? Are you one of the good ones? That is how these people do it. They never clock in and say, today I will destroy boundaries and make my team resent me. No. They call it responsiveness. They call it urgency. They call it staying ahead. Then they send a message at 10 p.m. about Q3 projections. Like the spreadsheet is bleeding out on the kitchen floor. One employee got tired of that game and did something beautiful. Not loud, not dramatic, no big speech. No confrontation in a glass meeting room with fake plants and stale coffee. Just math. Pure, clean math. Every message from the manager got a reply exactly 24 hours later. Not whenever it was convenient. Not first thing next morning. Exactly one full day. Midnight email, midnight response tomorrow. Saturday dawn email, Saturday dawn response next week. That is what makes it art. The person was not slacking. They drafted the answers right away. Work did not stall. Projects did not crater. Nothing important got missed. The manager could not even make the usual accusation because every response was complete, professional, and technically on record. The employee was doing the job, just not playing the little panic theater anymore. And the manager noticed. Of course he noticed. He started moving his own behavior first, which is always the tell. The late emails got earlier. Then earlier again. You can picture him there, trying to beat the system he created, like a lab rat slowly understanding the shock lever. If I send it at 9 p.m., maybe I get the answer by 9 p.m. tomorrow. If I send it before lunch, maybe I get it before lunch tomorrow. And after months of this, suddenly most of his emails were showing up before noon. That is the whole story right there. Nobody called HR. Nobody filed a manifesto. Nobody posted a passive-aggressive LinkedIn essay about wellness and resilience. One worker simply reflected the manager's own timeline back at him with perfect precision, and the man trained himself like a dog hearing a whistle. That is how weak a lot of authority really is. It looks tough when nobody pushes back. The second you make it live with its own rules, it starts adjusting itself. But the nasty part is what created the problem in the first place. The manager did not want communication. He wanted proof of control. Late emails are not always about the work. Half the time, they are little digital ankle monitors. I can still reach you. You are still on my grid. I can take your time and make you grateful I only took a little. That is what the midnight ping really is. Not productivity. Territory. And once a company learns that trick, it never stops at one trick. After hours access is only the appetizer. Next comes surveillance with a smile. Next comes reporting. Next comes the belief that if they can carve your day into tiny pieces and count them all, they can somehow turn counting into value. That brings us to the consultant. Experienced. Expensive. The kind of person companies rent when they need somebody who actually knows what they are doing. About $1,500 a day. Not cheap, but there is a reason people pay it. Work gets done, systems move, problems close, the project runs for months, the relationship is stable. Trust exists. The customer buys 2 days a week, the consultant does the work, maybe juggles a few emails or a quick call in between, and everyone acts like adults because everyone understands the point is delivery, not theater. Then a new project manager arrives. You know the type. Fresh haircut. Fresh slide deck. Fresh need to prove that his salary is not just an office chair with a pulse in it. He steps into a working system and immediately decides the system is wrong, because he was not the one who built it. Progress was happening before he got there, and that is intolerable. If things run smoothly without him, then what exactly is he adding besides oxygen debt? So he starts adding himself. Twice daily meetings, constant emails, status checks, clarifications, follow-ups. The usual corporate confetti. He wants visibility, which in bad management language means he wants the room to stop what it is doing every few hours and admire his need for reassurance. Then he goes one step further. He says they are not getting their money's worth. He wants a detailed breakdown of exactly how the consultant spends time. That was the mistake. That was the moment the gun got handed to the other side. Because if you are billing by the day and somebody insists on detailed forensic accounting, then detailed forensic accounting is what they are going to buy. Every meeting the manager schedules, bill it. Every email he sends, bill it. Every response, bill it. Every minute spent tracking the minutes for his little accountability fetish. Bill that too. If the man wants a shrine built to his own interruptions, the contractor will happily itemize the candles, and the bill almost doubles. That is the funniest part of micromanagement. It always arrives wearing a cost control badge. It always claims to be about efficiency. Then the invoice shows up and suddenly leadership rediscovers the ancient wisdom of shutting up and letting competent people work. The director calls. Because of course the director calls. Nobody likes surprises when the surprise has a currency symbol on it. Why did the costs spike? What happened? And the answer is perfect because it is so plain. Nothing mysterious happened. The consultant simply followed the new manager's request. Detailed tracking. Regular updates. Full visibility. Exactly what was asked for. Half an hour later, the project gets the email. Go back to the old arrangement. The new guy has been moved. Reallocated. That beautiful corporate phrase. Not fired, not humiliated, reallocated. Sent to go contaminate some other hallway. A few weeks later, his account is disabled, which is the cleanest sentence in modern business. One day you are making everybody document their breathing. A little later, your login does not work. That is the cost of managerial vanity. It is not just annoying, it is billable. It takes an expensive specialist and turns him into a stenographer for somebody else's insecurity. It floods the project with meetings, emails, logs, and update rituals, until the manager himself becomes the most expensive task on the project. Imagine being so useless that your primary contribution is creating paperwork about your own interference. Imagine needing a consultant to record the damage you are doing in 6-minute increments so your boss can finally see you in your natural habitat. And if you think that kind of stupidity stays contained, it does not. It spreads upward, it gets promoted, it gets rebranded. It turns into strategy. Because once leadership gets addicted to fake visibility and fake acceleration, it starts looking for a bigger machine to make the same old mess at scale. If you enjoy watching executives light a server room with a flamethrower and call it innovation, subscribe now, because this is what happens when management, office politics, and IT chaos all move into the same studio apartment and start sharing knives. Now we get to the sysadmin. 20 years in, already carrying a full plate, real work on the table, real responsibilities, real systems that need care. Patches, support, backups, security, all the boring, unglamorous things that keep a company alive while the executives go on podcasts and pretend they invented electricity. Then leadership decides this is the year of AI. Not careful adoption, not controlled pilots, not governance first. No, a push, a campaign, a contest. Everyone gets to bring ideas. Everyone gets to vibe code their little dream app into existence. The team with the best result gets a bonus. You can hear the future breaking already. Some ideas are decent. That almost makes it worse, because mixed into a few workable concepts is a flood of nonsense built by people who do not know integration, support, security, permissions, maintenance, data handling, identity, audit trails, or what happens when their cheerful little bot suddenly needs to live on a network with other things. They build first. They think never. And when IT raises a red flag, the answer is not evidence. It is not architecture. It is not testing. It is some variation of, well, the chatbot said it should work. That sentence alone should get a building condemned. So the sysadmin does the job, spots the issues, reports them to security, reports them to the boss, and then the punishment begins. Meetings, debates, message chains, endless back and forth, same as the consultant story, just with a different costume. Every warning creates more overhead, not more safety. Every objection generates another calendar invite. Nobody fixes the root problem. They just process the objection until everyone is too tired to keep objecting. Then the bad app gets approved anyway, one way or another, because leadership already decided the answer before the discussion started. That is what these AI pushes are in a lot of companies. Not technology strategy, morale damage with branding. They tell every random department they can become builders overnight. They bypass process because process sounds slow. They treat governance like a vibe issue. Then they dump the blast radius onto IT and security, who now have to pretend this is all normal, while they watch fresh attack surfaces pop out of the carpet every morning like roaches. And it gets worse. Users are installing AI agents directly on work machines. People in IT say absolutely not. Leadership says approved. That should chill you more than any ransomware headline. Because at that point, the company has crossed a line. It is no longer making dumb experiments. It is teaching the entire org chart that controls are optional if the toy is shiny enough. It is telling staff that expertise can be overruled by executive excitement. It is telling risk very clearly to get in the trunk. Meanwhile, the actual work has not gone away. Tickets still come in. Infrastructure still needs care. Systems still break in ordinary ways. But now all of that sits under a fresh layer of noise. Noise from app requests, noise from pilots. Noise from executives who became true believers after one keynote and now want to improve the entire company with tools they could not describe under oath. Everybody becomes an expert overnight. Nobody wants to own the support burden next month. Nobody wants to explain the breach next year. They just want the demo now, and after 20 years of this field, the sysadmin finally hits the wall. Not because one outage was too hard, not because one user was too dumb, because leadership turned the whole job into a hostage situation where competence is required but never respected. He is ready to give notice without another job lined up. Savings in the bank, year off if needed. Maybe never come back. Market is bad, doesn't matter. The joy is gone. That sentence is heavier than any outage report. That is the final invoice for executive stupidity. Not just wasted time, not just bad apps. You burn out the people who still know where the bodies are buried. You turn the last adults in the room into escape artists. First, the midnight manager gets trained by delay. Then the micromanager gets priced out by his own obsession. Then the sysadmin just walks toward the exit because there is nothing left to save that wants to be saved. And that is the fusion. One company culture. 3 different symptoms. After-hours control, minute-by-minute surveillance, AI mania from the top. Every layer claims it is making work tighter, faster, smarter. In reality, it is just converting payroll into friction. More emails, more meetings, more logging, more debates, more shadow IT, less work, less trust, less patience. Less future corporate failure usually does not arrive as one giant scandal. It arrives as 1,000 approved absurdities. A boss steals your night. A manager bills himself into extinction. And an executive hands production systems to amateurs with chatbot confidence. By the time the company notices the rot, the only people who understood the building are already gone.